Oh, is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hi there, it's Simon here. How are you? Thanks so much for watching this video. We're just going to wait for us to all assemble a little bit. Maybe I came on a minute or two early. So let's just hang on there. If you're watching the rewatch of this live one, just bear with me. You can skip forward in the bar maybe a minute or two whilst we wait for people to come into the room. If you're out there, do let me know you're out there. It makes me feel much better, makes the class go better. I'm quite a needy person, so I always like to know where you are and what you're watching and where you're watching from. So if you've just joined the room, please just let us know in the comments what your name is and where you're from. It'd be great to hear from you. Always makes me always interesting to see where people are. I know that, you know, time in Australia is not a very friendly time for the rest of the world sometimes. Hey, vintage FLA. That's very mysterious call sign. I like that. Okay, so what we are going to do today, luckily I made a note. When you hear songs like Little Wing or by Jimi Hendrix, or like Banana Pancakes by Jack Johnson, or Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or I don't know, Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. There's like these kind of runs in between the chords, right? And it feels when you're sort of, once you've got to the stage of learning a few bar chords, it would be great, wouldn't it, to that kind of thing, right? So what we're going to do today, we're going to investigate how that works. We're going to only use E-shaped bar chords, which is pretty straightforward, and that's how we're going to do it. Now, have we got anybody else coming in? I'm going to wait 20 more seconds. So that's how we're going to do it. My name's Simon. I'm a guitar teacher here in Sydney, Australia. Hi, Nancy. This is a Patreon live stream. I have a Patreon over at Simon Morell, patreon.com/Simon Morell. There's a bunch of people over there. And every single lesson I have here on YouTube, I put charts up. And, you know, it's just all part of the guitar teaching world that I live in. I mean, really, gigging muso, but also do lessons because there's only so many gigs you can do in a day. Anyway, so, okay, let's start it off. All right, now, this is A major. Now, hopefully you know how to play an A major shape, an A chord. It's still pretty early here. I've already had one coffee. An E-shaped bar chord at the 5th fret, which is A major. All right. So underneath here is this scale pattern. And that was A major. So you've got A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, right? So it follows that if we're playing in the key of A major, we can play A major, right? Makes sense. And this is the basis of what people are doing when they're playing runs inside the chords. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick example of how that might sound. We're playing A major. I'm going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Grab your guitar at the same time. You can have a go. So bass, stab, bass, bass, stab. And then with our third finger here, what we can do is we can slide from B to C sharp, hit an E, hit an F sharp. So it's going to sound something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right? So let's just have a quick go at that. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and so basically from 7 to 9 7, 9, 7. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... Okay. How did he go with that? Was that all right? Pretty straightforward so far. Okay. Now, obviously, if the song is moving and the chord is changing, then we can move the chord 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now, I did just exactly the same thing there. I just basically played to D major, 10th fret, and we're going to slide and basically play technically the same thing, fret-wise, versus the chord. So we're going, right? Because in D major, those notes work. All right, Nancy? Okay, it looks like it's just you and me here, so this is excellent value for you. So ask any questions you want. All right, so you can see that you can get these moves between the shapes. And if you think, you think about things like any of that Johnny Cash sort of stuff where he's going, right? So you've got A, B, C sharp, D, D, C sharp, B, A, just up and down. So pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so A and D. Now, these notes are in the sort of guts of the pattern, right? So what you can do then is then kind of a bit higher up the register. Some of them bass runs, and we're going to get into sort of treble runs and then sort of treble runs as we go, right? So if you think of like the beginning of Little Wing, it goes, right? And then G, A minor, something like this. So we've got a bunch of chords, right? But he's doing exactly the same sort of thing, but just in different registers. Yeah, g'day, Stephen, how are you? So we're in different registers there, right? So that first thing is just, yes, bass runs. But, let's not start all that nonsense. Okay. That kind of thing, right? Okay, so, I mean, if you think of other things like, I think I mentioned Banana Pancakes before by Jack Johnson. I'd like to try and pick different kinds of music and not all stay in the same sort of zone. How does that go? Do you see what I mean? It's the same trick, like we're playing in A minor here. A minor. G7. Right? So the same sort of ideas, right? Okay, so we've spoken about the low stuff there. So let's talk about the sort of middle stuff. Now, because of the nature of the shape of the chord, the E-shaped chord, we kind of got this 7, 7, 6, 5. You can actually do this sort of thing, right? So instead of always being stuck in this sort of traditional bar chord shape, you can kind of put your index finger over 5, 6, 7, 5. And I'm just not going to play the A string. I could play the A string because it's A, but we're going to... See what I mean? So we're here in A. Right. Now, So we're still in the key of A here. So we've got A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Right? Now, there's a lot of things we can do in here within the sort of zone of the chord itself. If you use your pinky, you've actually got a sus4, a 6, and a 9 in the key, right there, all on the 7th fret. So when you hear like those sorts of little wing riffs, you can hear this sort of. Okay, so it follows that if we've got a kind of possibility, and then sorry, we're saying E shaped bar chords, A. Now I'm still in A. Here, you've got to know your sort of. This is why it's important to learn your scales, right? Because then you've got all these notes in the area of your chord, which now you've freed up your fingers to be able to play, right? In between your chords. Now, our song so far has been pretty straightforward, right? We've just had A and D. I mean, it's not the most complicated song in the world, but if you think of like My Girl, it's doing the same, exactly this sort of trick, if you like. I don't think it's an A though. I got a feeling that maybe that My Girl is in C. That feels right. Yeah, so you can kind of see that. Let me just squeeze forward here. You can kind of see that that is the trick of it, right? Now, so within the shape, we had those little riffs. So this kind of thing, using your first finger here. All the way down, so like 9, 6, 4, 3, 1. Especially that 4, 3, 1 thing. Like, there you go. Right? It's awesome. Now, so what can we practice? What can we practice together? Let's find out. I hope everybody's got a guitar going. Maybe we can try 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and let's try that. So I'm just hammering on to D there, C sharp, A. Right? Let's try that together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. All right. So let's go from here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Right? Now, you wouldn't necessarily play the same riff. I'm just going to switch the heel off. Play the same riff all the time, and it's going to be a bit dull, right? But you can mix the tops and bottoms, so you get like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. See what I mean? Now let's chuck an extra chord in. We're going to play the chords A, D, C sharp minor, D. A bit more melodic, right? You get a third chord of the key there. So we've got A major, D, C sharp minor, D. Now, so far we've sort of focused on major things right now, but obviously such C sharp minor is a minor chord. But helpfully, everybody knows C sharp minor pentatonic, right? Or that first position of the minor pentatonic. Right? So imagine in there, let me just zoom in for you. Probably should have thought this before. We can go, oh, that's much better, right? You know, all that kind of stuff where you've got your finger flat, kind of the triady bit of the chord, right? So if you had A, and so there you start to see, it's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. Okay, so that was A, D, C sharp minor, or C sharp minor. That semitone slide from between C sharp and D is going to be really, really nice. Okay, so the trick of doing this is really just to practice that kind of thing. So if you can kind of just get a groove going, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, and then chuck the stuff in. 4. So just try and be consistent. Tap your foot. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and then. And it doesn't have to be too busy either, right? And what you notice is if you keep going and you've got the chords in your head, you kind of almost don't need the, right? So if you're like 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and right? It's very cool. Now, there we go. That's kind of the gist of the lesson today. So thinking of these shapes, this E shape, maybe we'll do another one next time on different shaped chords, but I just thought I'd give you one shape first to play around with. So there's an E shaped bar chord at the 5th fret. You can play like that, even better. Play like that with your thumb over the top here at the 5th fret. It's an A. We have got A major, that kind of stretchy pattern. You can even play the kind of this sort of pattern. So even stuff like that where you literally have one chord, A. It's like a it's just great, right? So if you think of your E shape as your sort of home base, right? And then you have your patterns, right? This kind of shape, you've got, like I said, the 1 is here with my 3rd finger is, that's the 3rd, major 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 1, major 7. You know, if you wanted a flat 7, you know. You see? As long as you kind of know where you are within the key, it's good, right? So A, right? And then what we spoke about is switching between A and D. You can do exactly the same trick, right? So imagine we were talking about the bass runs before, like Nancy said. So we've got A, D, A. And you're doing exactly the same thing relative to the chord. D, D, E, F sharp, G. Right? It just gives the thing a bit more, instead of like, I mean, that's cool, right? But it's great. Okay, and then the other thing is just really making sure that you've just got that vibe going. 1 and 2 and going. All right, so hopefully that sorts you out. I'm going to put this up over at Patreon and put a chart attached with these sorts of runs written on them. And I will see you next time. Are there any questions before I log off for today? It's my wife's birthday today, so we're going out. It's very exciting. I'm just going to hang on there for any questions at the end. I feel like maybe I've explained it so well that you know exactly what I'm trying to get you to do. It's awesome. I mean, you don't really have to, it doesn't have to be hard. Happy birthday to Mrs. Morell, yes. It doesn't have to even be there. You know, you could play A here and D. Even simple things like like even like an A to D in that sort of situation is pretty cool. But what we're really focusing on these chords. Always the way I get to the end and I've got the most viewers that I had, and I've already explained everything. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. Sounds like yes, it does. So it's all the same trick, right? So you've got D, and he has a riff, right? And then he basically plays that. And then G over B. D, right? And even the other section where it goes B minor, D. Oh, wow, what a memory. I haven't played this for ages. I think there's a lesson actually on the Patreon for thank you. So, but that's exactly the same concept. And any of these songs, like I was mentioning before, like what's it called? Bridge song, the Chili Peppers bridge song, Under the Bridge. La, 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 la. And then he goes, right? So you've got E, B, exactly like we discussed, C sharp minor and A sharp minor, A minor shaped bar chord, and then just goes, and then so A, E, B, all the same tricks, right? And that one, oh yeah, ain't no sunshine when she goes. See what I mean? See what I mean? Like, so once you get the hang of this in a major key, then you can try the minor stuff. The minor stuff should be easier because it's like every guitar player's learned minor pentatonics, right? So that if you're an A minor, for example, you've got A minor pentatonic here, the first position, yeah? And then you can come down, right? A minor pentatonic, right? So let's say like in Ain't No Sunshine, which basically is, it's like an A minor blues. Ain't No Sunshine. You've got loads of A minor, and then E minor, D minor, A minor. It's the whole song, right? Apart from I know, that bit, right? So you got E, G, A minor. You can make it sound. E minor. Yeah. E, G, A minor. 2, 3, 4. A minor. G, A, E minor. E minor 9. Woohoo! E minor 7, D minor 7, A minor. Right? Those sorts of things, and like they're very satisfactory to play. Like, you know, don't worry about playing it exactly, but Little Wing is probably the one that you probably heard this first on. And so you have E minor, and then you get this into A minor, and then G, and then A minor, E minor, B minor, plays a 9, A minor 9 on the top there, and then G. These kind of cool open chords that he plays in loads of the songs. F, C6, G, D major. And so like you think those chords around and round, you've got E minor, E minor, G, add a little trick, A minor, here's A minor, E minor, E minor pentatonic here, B minor pentatonic. No, Jimmy wasn't the first. Jimmy was not the first. A minor. If you listen to, I mean, there's a lot of people who are doing this sort of thing in the soul sort of blues zone. There, because of the nature of the songs, there's not many chords, right? If you think of like big sort of mid-60s hits, like Soul Man. They're coming to you on a dusty road, that kind of thing. And you can sometimes hear Steve Cropper doing like that kind of thing, like in Knock on Wood. And it's good thing, and then he goes something. E, that kind of thing, where you're like, and they do a lot of that. What else do I think of when I think of this? People Get Ready by Curtis, The Impressions, which was Curtis Mayfield's band. You hear him doing something like that. I actually don't know how to play it, but it's something in that sort of zone. What are the chords in People Get Ready? Yeah, it's a C, A minor, F. People get ready, there's a train coming. Down on the bum bum, bum bum bum. See what I mean? There's an awesome version that Jeff Beck does with Rockin' Rod Stewart, which is cool. There's actually a live one where he pretends he doesn't know Rod Stewart's coming out, and then Rod Stewart comes out and they sing it together. I think you can find that on YouTube. And then you'll hear him play that. People are ready, there's a train coming. And he's doing all that, you know, kind of trick. I think I've got a lesson on that actually as well. And just using, this is a bit of a throwback, but a lesson I did a few months ago just on the cage stuff, so that, you know, you've got, he plays the chords in just different places. C, A minor, F, C, right? But you could play C, A minor, F, C, or C, A minor, F, C. And just the interaction between those different shapes and the chords, simple chords, you know. F. So all this sort of stuff is all super interconnected. So really the most important thing that you're learning is this, the fact that the scales sit in the chords. Now, I don't know, that took me a long time to kind of realize when I was learning the guitar. Like, I thought they were like separate things. I thought there was like somebody played the chords and then there was somebody who played the kind of lead guitar, right? You know, when my kid was little, I used to go to a barbecue and you meet all these kids, with kids at their school, birthday parties, what do you do? And I'd say, oh, I'm playing guitar. And they go, oh, but what do you do actually for a job? And I'm like, no, I play the guitar. And then they go, but do you play rhythm guitar or do you play lead guitar? You know, that's always the question you get asked, you know. I'm like, I kind of just play all at the same time. And they go, oh, well, that's great, you know. And I think, I'm not sure what they think of that, but you know what I mean, you are kind of playing everything at the same time. Like, People Get Ready is a great exercise to do. Let's see. Yeah, because there's C major there too, right? So if you can get the handle on the fact that you've got A major there, and then your A major scale is right there. And then if you've got like a different shape chord, like this is F major, right? It's a C-shaped bar chord. There's F major within there. G major is. You can get the idea that all of these scales are like what make up the chord, right? So that's really, really cool. And then once you start getting the idea of that, then the People Come Ready thing that I was just playing before, A shaped chord, 3rd fret. I know I do this. I don't know. Don't report me to the guitar teachers playing union. I know you're not really meant to do that. You're meant to do that. Or this sort of thing. I don't know how people do that. I don't know. I'm not one of these people. Anyway, but, and then A minor. It's just A minor pentatonic, right? And then F, You can do that Jimi Hendrix thing that he always does. He basically takes his second finger out of the chord here in this F bar chord. You get an F sus2, and then you can hammer on the third. So you get the, like in Wing Cries Mary, where he does that same C, B flat, F. Right? Tricks like that. And then tricks like that is what, you know, John Mayer and everybody else who came after that got. But whether, that's a very long answer to your question, Stephen. Did Jimi Hendrix invent this? I'm not really sure he did invent it. I'm sure it'd been going on for ages before, right? But I guess he was the guy who popularized it because, you know, sort of first guitar hero kind of. I know there was other guitar heroes. Don't come at me with all that. Dwayne Eddy or, you know, whoever. Mel Travis or Robert Johnson or whatever. Anyway, but like really the guitar guy, right? Anyway. So there you go. I feel like that's a much extended version of what we were going to do. But I kind of get sucked into these things and I just love playing the guitar so much. I love hanging out with you guys. So I really do appreciate you watching. Are there any questions around any of this stuff? I'm happy to help. The Thank You Led Zeppelin is, I think there's a video on Patreon. People get ready. I think there's also a video on that and a chart over at Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Simon Morell. Wing Cries Mary, all that kind of thing. I think there's lessons on Patreon, but also maybe on YouTube as well, some of those things. I mean, I've got over 1,000 lesson videos here on YouTube now, which seems absolutely ridiculous. So watch one of those. I would love to see you again. I do one of these live streams once a month. If you have any questions or you want me to cover something in the thing that's been bugging you or you never quite get the answer to, I'm happy to help. Thanks so much for watching. I know we're only a small class today, but I feel like very high quality class. So I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Do appreciate it. Bye for now.